everyone, and welcome to Giving Them Something to Talk About. I'm your girl, TJ, and welcome back to the show. I'm so excited about today's conversation. It's one that's going to speak to your heart. Today, I'm sitting down with two incredible people, Robert and Shelby Howard, which are my children, my son-in-law, and my daughter. They're not only a powerful couple in ministry, but also loving parents, leaders, and friends who have walked through different seasons of life with so much grace and faith. We're going to talk about marriage, raising children, pastoring, and how they've navigated change and transition while staying grounded in God's purpose. So stay tuned. I know their story and wisdom is going to encourage you. So let's jump right in. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to another episode 10 actually, of Giving Them Something to Talk About. And look who's here. Look. I have been trying to get these people here since I started the podcast. So finally their schedules allotted, ours lined up, and here we are. I have today with me Shelby and Robert Howard. Say hello to the people.
Hey. Hello, everybody.
This is my son-in-law and my daughter, who I love dearly. They are here, and we are just going to chop it up a little bit. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. So we're just going to get right into it. We are here to talk about marriage and family, ministry, and seasons of change. So how did the two of you meet, and when did you realize you were meant to do life and ministry together?
That's a good question, man. So how did we meet? We met at church. Well, I've known Shelby pretty much my whole life. So I always considered Shelby as a big sister. And so we...
so she's older than you?
Yeah, she's older than me.
Oh, yes. How many years?
4.
Yeah, she got me by 4.
She went into Cougarville. Okay?
Yeah. Snatched the club right out the club. Right on up out of there.
Don't do that.
I'm still nursing. But yeah, no. So we met at church. Like I said, known Shelby pretty much my whole life. Like I said, she was a sister. We looked at each other as sister and brother for a very long time. Yeah. And it wasn't until I got myself together with the Lord that God kind of revealed her to me in a season of just seeking Him for direction and clear vision for my life. And So.
What's crazy is, and he doesn't remember this, but after church he used to always come say hi to me. He was just the sweetest little boy, like super sweet, and he always used to say hi to me. And so that never left me for some reason. I guess now we know. But yeah, he was just always so sweet.
I was macking early.
Oh my gosh. What I remember is you would always you had started calling me mom. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, yes, I just love that from him. Mm-hmm. He was just such a sweetheart. But so when did you realize that you were meant to do ministry together?
Ministry together, man. You
guys did a lot of plays and stuff at church.
Yeah, right? We did a ton of plays at church. We were both a part of the youth department, even before we got married. And like I said, this is around the time that I really got serious with the Lord and really wanted to really focus in. And so we end up, of course, getting married. And
how long have you been married, actually?
12 years.
Yeah,
my goodness, 12 years. 13 years next year. Yeah. So we knew that ministry was something that we wanted to do together, kind of like right out the gate, right? Like we were already involved in it heavily. And it just made sense for us just to continue to, do what God was calling us to do. So, yeah, right out the gate. I think we were married not even a year.
And not even
a year. And then we were assigned or appointed as youth pastors of the International Gospel Center at the time. So,
yeah,
that's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So tell me something that you've learned about keeping your marriage strong through busy seasons of life and ministry.
I'm gonna let Shelby answer that one.
No, I would definitely say being intentional, keeping your head in the game, literally keeping your head in the game in your marriage, not allowing just life to to, cause a cloud over it. You know what I mean? Like a lot can happen, having kids, it's a whirlwind, right? And you're just kind of like your daily routines and stuff, but just really being intentional about you and your spouse, like time spent together, talking, even if it's just watching our favorite show after the kids go to bed, like that has been crucial and critical to keep, intact as we, transition through different seasons of our lives and in ministry too. So just being intentional, like I can't say that enough. Like keep your head in the game, keep your head in your marriage. Don't allow all the busyness to allow you to lose sight of that. So
that's great. So, and when you say intentional, like you were saying, you mean like just do things to be together, to communicate. How's your communication? How do you all?
No, like that's really good. And I kind of want to piggyback on what Shelby was saying, just about just being intentional, the intentionality of it. I think one of the major things that we also have learned is that we have to embrace each season, right? Like every season won't look like the last, right? And like there was a season that we didn't have kids, right? So we had a whole lot of time to do just nothing but spend time with one another and
get to know each other
and get to know each other. But now with kids, right? Kids they kind of create a space between you, right? It's like the more kids you have, the harder it is kind of to grab at her, right? Because she's getting kids ready. I'm working, she's working. We run a businesses on the side, so it's just embracing that each season won't necessarily look like the last, right? I think that is also important. But as it relates to just like intentionality, to her point of just like making time, like not spare time, right? Like when we think about what a spare tire is, it is just in case, right? But when you are intentional with something, you are doing the maintenance on your vehicle. You are doing all the necessary things to make sure that it is properly maintained. Spare tire is just in case something happens, right? And so I try to make it my business not to just give her my spare time, right? I try to make it my business to give her my intentional time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So see, that's that preacher. Preacher coming out, man. That's that preacher coming out.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I just love that. So,
and to you, the number one babysitter, like
everybody calls you,
and the grandmother.
Super. Well, you babysit for us, but you are
everything.
You are clutch, and so just being able to be afforded that, to have a part of our village, it allows us to have that, not spare time, but intentional time too.
And let me just end, and I love my grandkids, period. So how do you handle disagreements or difference in perspective, both at home and in leadership?
Oh man, that's good. That's a great question, honestly. I kind of go there like, so, I've been blessed. I think we've both been blessed to be in leadership roles on our jobs for quite some time, right? I've kind of started out in high school and managing folks twice my age, right? And so I learned at a very young age that you may have a good answer, but it may not always be the right answer, right? Or you may have a great idea, but it does not mean that that's always the best idea for that scenario. So like I learned at a very young age that to embrace differences, to embrace new ideas, new thought processes. And so, and then I think too, like our childhoods and our life experiences outside of each other kind of help shape our current reality of like disagreements. Like
so like what way? Like I'm not gonna do like they did.
Yeah. So not to go too far into it, but being in my particular situation, right? I always say that I did not want to be in a marriage where argument was like the focal point of our marriage, right? And so for me, oftentimes, and she knows, is I won't say nothing. I will walk away. I will take some time to myself to think. I will process. I think still to this day, I can probably count on now 2 hands, because we've been married, probably 2 hands, how many big arguments or disagreements that we've had. And I think it is due to I don't try to respond in the moment, right? Because when you just in past, right? When you respond in the moment, right, you allow for your emotions to become unfiltered, right? You allow for your thoughts to become unfiltered, right? And then you allow for the enemy to get in, that's right? But I look at our, my previous pastor, Pastor Marvin, all the time, how I would call him and ask him certain questions, and how it'd take him a little time for him just to respond. But I understood that he was actually processing what we were saying, right? And so I try to take on that approach. Let me, if I don't necessarily agree with something let me take a little time before I just go and respond to it, because I understand that my words have life, they have power. So yeah,
that's awesome. I say I always hear it. Listen to understand. Don't just listen to respond, but listen to understand. And that's something I had to learn to do. It didn't automatic. I was the only child, so I didn't have much of that like sibling interaction or whatever. We would talk or whatever, but we didn't get in conflicts like that. So but as you get into marriage and you learn somebody, y'all come from 2 different backgrounds. It's easy to think that you know everything, and also being the oldest, you think you know everything.
Oh wow! Yeah.
He's super wise. He's so wise beyond his years, and so I had to humble myself and say, listen to what he's trying to say. And he's not trying to, be offensive. I can be very defensive. He knows this. I've grown. I'm still growing with that defensiveness part. But listen to understand what the person is saying. They're not intentionally trying to, bring you down or tear you down. But it's constructive things, or, it's another perspective that they have that you can glean from. So just walking in humility and listening to understand.
That's good. That's really good, guys. I'm glad to hear that. So now, when did each of you first feel the call to ministry, and how has that calling evolved over time? Because I know you guys got some things going new.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff.
But what happened? When did you first feel that calling, Robert?
Man, I felt the calling to ministry at about the age of about 19, I would say 19. I had started serving as an armor bearer in our church. I think I might be one of the youngest armor bearers that I've ever served. I think I was about 15 when I started serving Pastor Marvin. Wow. And I gleaned a lot from him, and so I always said to myself, man, I desire to model the life that he lives. Again, never want to put anyone on a pedestal, but being so close to him and seeing the integrity that he had, I always said that, when it came to me, that I want to be able to pattern my life after some of his qualities. And so as I started to kind of sit under him and learn from him and, serve him, it shifted in ministry when, like I said, around the age of like 19, when I really started to get heavily involved in the youth department, started to lead some of the gatherings for the previous youth pastor. And then he ended up transitioning and started his church. And then right then and there, we were appointed as youth pastors. And so right then and there, I said, okay, well, God, obviously you are saying something, you're doing something in my life, and I have to be obedient to it. And I didn't necessarily want to be nobody's youth pastor. Didn't want to be no pastor. To this day, I don't want to be nobody's pastor. I have a servant's heart. So, I enjoy serving. I enjoy being able to do things like with my hands and seeing projects through and stuff like that. But I'm embracing it all, right? Because I understand that, oftentimes when we don't necessarily feel the most qualified, that's when God qualifies us, right? And so I'm walking in this new season and embracing it all, right? And have been embracing it all these
with
years.
Grace.
So
Amen.
Yeah. What about you?
Just growing up, seeing, you and Dad operate in ministry, it was a great example for me. I never really wanted to have a specific role or position in ministry. I just want to spread the gospel. I can remember since I was like young, and just 22 sticks out to me, but maybe I wrote in a journal or something. It's like, I just want to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. Like, I want people to know and come into the fullness of a real relationship with him. Just as I had, like, I wanted to share that. I want other people to experience that. And so it didn't have to be no title. In my mind, I was willing to do missions and stuff. Like back then, I was just like, I want to spread the gospel. So it wasn't like, oh, I want to be this or that, but just a call to spread the gospel, the Great Commission. So yeah.
And that is indeed what you are doing.
Yeah.
So what has been the most rewarding part of pastoring people, and what has stretched your faith the most?
The most rewarding part, I would say, is, and I would even use, because the bulk of our ministry was with the youth department, I would say even with that, just looking at some of the kids now, right, and how they have just flourished in their life, and how they come back and just, say, man, you had such an influence on our life. And, bro, there was one kid, I'll never forget, I took this kid to go buy a suit for his graduation. And, picture, he would just posted a picture with the same suit on from his graduation. And I seen him, and he said, man, I wear this suit, man. This suit got favor on it. I wear it all the time, And he said, I'll never forget that you took out the time, to really spend time with me. And even just that small act. So I would say, just the discipling piece, just being able to actually steer kids in the direction of Christ. Like, I think that's the most rewarding part about ministry, or just, and not just kids, but people that just in general. Now we're in this different season where we're not just stewarding kids, but we are stewarding people now. Adults and really trying to help shape their faith and their walk with Christ. And so,
and so where are you doing this at?
So we are at Shelby's father's church, Reverend, which is my father-in-law. His name is Reverend Terry Minor, amazing man of God. He is our new pastor of the church called Macedonia Baptist Church.
A Baptist church.
Yes, Baptist church. Yes.
So y'all went from Pentecost to the Baptist.
We went to Pentecost to the Baptist.
And so can I just rewind a little bit when he said, I think it was talking about, when did you feel God calling you early? I feel like God has to push me to do things. I feel like if I don't do it, like, I'm not going to do it on my own. Like, he has to, like, thrust me into the fire, into whatever it is. Like, I really feel like he had to do that. Like, I guess we sensed something was coming, but God was like, here you go. Bye. See you. Like Abraham, right? Like, just go, And so even with personal jobs that I had been laid off from, and I wasn't going to move on my own. So literally God was like, okay, it's time's up here, and led me to my destiny. Right. And so a lot of times I feel like that's just been what it is. We kind of get comfortable, but God is like, okay, it's time to go. I'm pushing you.
Okay. So push pause for a minute, because years ago, I remember you all, we were all talking.
Yeah.
And you came to the house one time or something. And you said, Mom, I feel like God's going to have me pastor. He wants me to be a pastor. Now, this had to be like 5 years ago or so. And I'm just, in my mind, I'm going, okay. And so, we just began to pray. So now it's manifested.
Yeah, man. So I'll say this too, to Shelby's point. I am a person too where I've never looked for position, right? There's always been God is calling you to do this, or you know. And I always typically start to feel the tug to do a certain thing. And so in this particular, fast forward to now, in this particular season, God has us in an amazing position where I've been, where we're helping launch this new ministry under Macedonia.
What's it called?
It's called The North, under our pastor Terry Minor. This is his vision that God has given him to attract a new demographic, a new younger audience. And so we are here just laying the groundwork right now. So we're really in the beginning stages of this, but we are believing that God is going to continue to grow it. Just excited to be in this new season, embracing a new culture, embracing new people, new ideas. When you've been at a place for so long, that place simply becomes all you know, right? And so this season of ministry is stretching me in ways that I've never been stretched, right? I'm having to dive in a whole lot more. I'm having to do a whole lot more preaching and a whole lot more teaching, and there's a lot more responsibility and weight that is being placed on me. But I am so excited because I know that without a shadow of a doubt that God has called us here.
Yes.
I know without a shadow of a doubt that our pastor is spirit led, and so yeah, we're just excited to really embrace all the nuances that come with this season of our life. So
awesome.
yeah.
And we're so proud of you. Go ahead, Shelby.
Thank you.
No, that was it. Yeah,
That was it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how do you stay encouraged and refreshed when ministry gets heavy or overwhelming? Because I know it can, especially with all the responsibility and even definitely now.
That's good. Shelby.
Yeah. No. Our village, our community, literally, like, it was like a saying, like, when you get around your village, it's like it's life giving to you. And honestly, our friends, our village will. All right, we meeting up after church, and they encourage us. We're laughing, like laughter is our thing, right? Like we're always laughing, but no, it's like a rejuvenation. Like it just builds you back up. You do a lot of, withdrawals as you do ministry, but when you get around people who are like-minded, and care for you and are there to encourage you, we have edifying conversations. We pray together with our village. That is really where we can kind of like recharge. And
that's good.
And so when you mention village, because people talk about a village, these are people outside of your family, just friends that have become like family, family from the previous church and the current church.
Absolutely, So people outside of our family, the people we grew up with at IGC, and have gone and done their own thing, but we still manage, again, intentionality, come back together. Most of us are at different churches now, but we still, come together.
Ministry.
Doing, isn't that amazing?
And all we're at the same church, but from this place delivery.
Exactly. Absolutely.
That's beautiful.
A lot of them are pastors and leaders in their own right.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. And so, to Shelby's point, man, I think I'm not gonna say it enough. Our village, and the people that we have, our friends, man, they are truly amazing, right? And they sharpen us in so many ways, right? Because there are moments that you do feel dull, because you've poured out, you've prayed, you laid hands, you done did everything, you done strategized, and sometimes like this past weekend, I think I heard that just on the fly, Mama. We got to get on out, and
you still didn't get my money.
Oh yeah, that part. Lord, I'm in debt, yo. Got you right after pocket. No, I'm good for it. But when we went out, me, I let my hair down around them folks, right? And Shelby, she, babe, and you can't say that. I said, Shelby, I have to be on all day, every day when it comes to ministry. This is going to be the place I'm going to be myself because they understand me, right? And so just being able to be yourself, being able to feel free and comfortable around people that understand you, right? And then just family too, right? Like, God has blessed us with multiple sets of families, right? And so at any given time, we can, any given Sunday, we can retreat over somebody's house and just let our hair down after after the busyness of ministry, right? So I would say those are some of the things that we did. Then we recently just went on a vacation, man. Even though I did a little ministry there, but it was still good.
He married his uncle,
Beautiful wedding,
and met some more family members, right?
Met more family members, more family members, more connections, more just understanding more about my heritage and where I come from. That was truly a blessing for me. I think I recently told my mom, I said, it's hard to know where you're going when you don't really know where you come from. Right. And so just hearing just the legacy and the success and all the different spaces that we dominate in was very encouraging, and to know that, man, I get this part of me from somewhere. Right?
Yeah,
so that's good.
Yeah, that was very, very beautiful to hear. Tell me about that. So let's talk a little bit about transition and growth. You walked through seasons of change in life and ministry, and maybe even location or calling. What have those transitions taught you about trust and timing?
Man, that's so good. That's an amazing question. I would say one of the biggest things that I've learned in ministry and in transition of ministry is listening to the voice of God, and not listening to the noise, right? Sometimes I found out that people have good intentions for you, but the voice of God is the ultimate guide to your life. And so following that voice and understanding that voice is a sure voice has been key for me, right? Like even when we stepped down from youth pastoring, I didn't necessarily know what was next, but I knew this was something that God was telling me to do. And I knew that God was preparing me for something. I had no idea that it would be this per se, but I knew what I heard in my spirit, right? Even to the point where I wrestled with it a little bit, like, man, who's next and all of this? But I knew without a shadow of a doubt that God was saying to me, it's time, right?
Yep.
I did not, I dedicated myself to not move abruptly. I didn't want to make a haste decision and, try to get involved over here and over here. No, I stayed right in IGC and I made sure that I was faithful where I was so that I could hear the voice of God, right? Because you don't want to be outside of the will of God, right? Just on islands trying to figure out what God has next. And so I think that is key, is listening to the voice of God, listening to that still small voice that is leading and guiding you.
That's good.
That's so good. And I'm just in the background, I'm sensing it too, but I'm following him, right? Like he's the head. And so I'm trusting God and trusting him. You know what I mean? Like I'm trusting what God has given him for us. Yeah. And so, just remaining prayerful in the background, praying, not knowing what's next at all, but just like, I know God is, got something, but also, it was so funny. You had sent me a text, and I don't know if you remember this. And this was way before, we had maybe even stepped down as youth pastor. You was like, follow your husband's lead. It was just like a simple text randomly. And I was like, okay, not knowing what it was for, but I could recall that. And so that was just extra confirmation, like it's gonna be fine, everything's gonna be good, where he's taking us to. And then just to see how everything transpired was just like,
so tell us about that. Let's talk about that for a hot minute. Let's talk about that transition.
For sure. So the transition, man, let's kind of talk a little bit about it. So I would say probably about maybe about 3 years ago, I had started to feel that it was time for us to step down from youth pastoring. We had been youth pastoring at IGC for 10 years. We had never been rebuked. Ain't nothing happened. We were, it was a successful, in my opinion, we led that youth department successfully. Launched a lot of initiatives, did a lot of things. Just a lot of, it was fun. Built some great teams, but we just felt that our time was coming. I felt really in my spirit that God was leading me to just take a step back, right? And so I called our pastor at the time and told him, and it took him by surprise a little bit, but what stood out to me the most was the question that he asked. He said, well, son, what's next? He said, because I know that God has something next for you, right? But I want to know what's next. And what do you see? And I said, well, Pastor, I don't know yet. I just know right now I want to be faithful where God is calling me. I'm not looking to leave, not looking to go nowhere hastily. Like I want to remain faithful. And I actually thrust myself in our men's ministry. And I started to really, help with that, but all in the background, I knew that this was probably short-lived because I didn't know. I knew I didn't want to start a church. I will say that. I knew I didn't necessarily want to start a church because I know how hard it is. And I know how it wears on your family. So I didn't want to start a church from the ground up. That was something I just didn't want to do. But I knew that God was saying transition is happening, right? And so I was just being obedient. I continued to serve as an armor bearer, as a junior pastor, all of the things, ministry, the prison ministry, all of that. And then I would say I started to have very small conversations with my father-in-law, our current pastor, just about ministry and his vision for his church at the time. And that's when God began to deal with me, right, on transitioning over there with him. Again, it wasn't for a position, it wasn't for a title, but it was simply, I felt that we could be an asset to the ministry. And so, I started talking to Shelby about it a little bit, and, we were praying, and, and then all of a sudden, I guess some folks met up in, some folks met up at Black Rock in Canton around here.
By happenstance.
By happenstance,
Not
really,
even
by not on
planning
purpose,
to
but
be-
by happenstance.
Yeah.
And the Spirit of the Lord,
Right.
we started to fast, we started to pray, and they had a conversation. They hooked up and had a conversation behind our backs.
Your father-in-law and Pastor Marvin.
Marvin,
Okay.
yeah, that we knew nothing about. And one thing my pastor, now my father-in-law said, he said, son, I wasn't trying to sway you either or. He said, I wanted you to know that this was the Lord leading you. And so I want to put that out there. He wasn't trying to persuade. He wasn't trying to get. He was simply just.
Never did.
He
Since
never.
he became
No, he was
pastor.
just voicing to me some of the things that he wanted to do.
Yes.
But-
Sorry. Quick interjection, which is just still so mind blowing. Y'all, when we got to Macedonia and we started building the team that we have a core team, and they began to tell us at the first meeting we met, they said, we've been praying for this. We've been praying for this. We've been praying for this for 3 years. We've been praying for years that you would come over, that you would come. For 3. And so you just never know. Like,
and not to cut you off, but they wasn't just praying for us to come over, but they was praying for us to do what we're doing now.
Yes.
They said we desired this.
And the former pastor emeritus, God bless him, Pastor Twyman, before my dad became pastor, he bought this church, not knowing really why, but bought it, felt led to buy the church, right? And so then my dad, was just like, there's something's gonna happen here. There's something's gonna happen. Not fully knowing it fleshed out, but it's just the timing of God, right? And we literally just followed his plan, followed the will of the Lord, remained faithful, remained obedient, and your steps are ordered by God, right? Your steps are ordered. And so literally he had it all set up, waiting for us. People were praying, and it was just all a part of his plan. So it was pretty amazing.
Wow. That's phenomenal how from babies God had planned this from y'all mother's womb. I mean, the whole shot. You have a father that's saved and a pastor. You have a stepdad that's saved and a minister. You have a father that's in ministry.
My dad is
church
in ministry.
Saved. That is crazy. It's these 3 blended families. And then look at what God is doing. It's just.
And if I could just add real quick, I want to give a shout out to my father too, because my dad, man, he is a true man of God. He walks with such. My father's not one that likes to be seen. I think that's where I get it from too, right? My dad is not one. He needs a microphone in his hand or none of that. He simply just loves God,
and
right?
He's a servant.
And he's a servant, right? He's outside on the food, serving in security. Doing all the things that, a lot of people don't want to do, right? That's the stuff that he does. And that's who I am, right? That's where I get that part from.
For sure.
So I love him, and I thank God for his leadership and his guidance as well.
Amen. Thank God. It's just the Spirit of God is just awesome.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to couples or leaders navigating transition while trying to stay faithful and grounded?
That's good.
Because you said you just said you weren't jockeying for a position. You were led by the Holy Ghost. So
I would say, the Bible's very clear. Was seek ye first, right? The kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and then all these other things would be added. Now that we know we say that scripture and we toss it out because it sounds good sometimes, but reality is that thing has to be lived, right? Seek him first, right? Like any and everything that you desire in life, that you want in life, if you truly seek God first for his plan and his provision for your life, all these other things would be added. The position, not just in church, but on your job, the house, the car, whatever it is that you are believing God for, those things would be added. But you have to seek God. You have to seek his heart, not his hand. And that's where we sometimes we miss it at. We only go to God because we need something from him. But man, if you really seek God's heart, and you really begin to love on God, right? And you really make him the center of your life, man, your life will transform not just, partially, but completely. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah.
I would just say too, like, listen to his voice, but don't be hasty.
Yeah,
like I know God have to push me sometimes, but it's wisdom and not being hasty, right? Like, don't get swayed by what you see other people doing or going, really be in tune with the Holy Spirit for what he has for you. Because what if we had left prematurely and the timing wasn't right and it wouldn't have been right, Right. But when you are following the voice of the Lord and just walking according to his voice, everything is already ready for you. Yeah. I mean, literally, this was ready for us. Yeah. And we just had to keep walking and obeying and just don't be hasty. Don't look to the left or to the right. Keep your focus, on the Lord. Like you said, seeking him first.
All right. So then that's how you stay grounded in God, just actually seeking his face and making sure you're hearing from him directly. That's great. Yeah. So you guys have these 3 beautiful children that you have given us as grandchildren that we love dearly.
She prayed for 3. I only prayed for 1.
Who prayed for 3?
Her.
Oh yeah, she did.
Oh, me?
Yeah. She was back there.
Yeah, she's back there praying. She was back there.
My Rowan started it all. So who are your children and how old are they?
Rowan, Elle, and Luke. Rowan is our oldest. He's 9. Elle is 2nd. Our baby girl, she is 6. And Luke is 2. He about to be 3. Can you believe that?
Next month he'll be 3.
In January he'll be 3.
Man, they all have different personalities. All are different in every single way. But then they close in the same. They have the same.
They do have mannerisms, and they're all hilarious.
Yeah. I think they get that. Well, they get that from the both of us because we both.
What has been the biggest joy and biggest challenge of raising children while also serving in ministry?
The biggest joy is being able to see your children duplicate the life that you live outside of church. We don't just go to church on Sunday and that's it, right? We actually live and try to live out what we preach them, right? And so seeing them praying and seeing them become passionate about serving and, seeing them, like I said, we when I dropped them off at school in the mornings, right, they are praying and, we saying our prayers the night before and they're learning about the Bible stories and, just seeing them actually, even recently, man, we did a service at our North service and Rowan was right there. I didn't ask him to lift his hands and worship, but he lift his hands and worship, eyes closed. And, he just started to worship God for himself, and so I was like, man, this is what I call richness, right? Like, this is what I call, wealth, right? Being able to know that what I'm putting down on the inside of them will follow them the rest of their life, right? Like, that is, I would say, the biggest joy of doing ministry with children.
Spot on. That's my exact answer. The challenges for me is the time.
Time in terms.
Giving them, so they all want individual time. Yeah. And Luke is even starting to want individual time.
Yeah, he wants to go outside.
So it's being, what'd you say?
He wants to go outside,
play, goodness,
jump off stuff.
Play game, but they're asking for that. Me and mommy time, them daddy's time. Daddy, when we gonna go on today? I think Elle said. Dad, what we gonna do? And so that has been a bit of a challenge in figuring out the balance of how do you do that. Right. But we just do it the best we can. Yeah. You just got. Rob recently bought like all these games, so we'll have family game night. So we'll spend it as a family. But just. I think Disney on Ice is coming. So Rob will take Elle there, or I'll take Rowan out for breakfast, or me and Elle will do something, get our nails done. We do that. And then me and Luke, he easy. Go outside or play Zingo, right? He's pretty easy. But it's been a challenge, but we're learning as they're growing up how to best do that.
Yeah, at some point they don't want to be bothered.
That part.
And the reality is oftentimes they're intertwined in ministry.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're at the meetings, and
Yep.
we have to put them in the conference room while we're meeting because they, Luke, he's gonna jump off, he's gonna be hopping pews,
Right.
or oftentimes we on a conference call and they in the background all the time, right? So it's so it's just so it's just creating that
and
time,
also
that
getting
space
them
for
involved in ministry.
Mm-hmm.
So Rowan is an usher. Okay. So first of all, he started off ushering at the North services, but now, yes,
He's on
my brother has let him have a camera for a service, and he's taking the pictures for the service
and doing a great job,
doing an awesome job.
Yeah.
So
and he's an usher.
Yeah, he
and
ushered.
He just got baptized.
Yes, a few months
baptized
ago
a few
he got
months ago.
baptized. Yeah, that was beautiful.
His grandfather, that was a beautiful thing. Watch his grandfather. He's gonna baptize the rest of them too.
Right.
Luke gonna probably need two, but we're gonna dip him twice.
Luke is expressive.
He's very expressive.
He's energetic.
But anything you give them, though, they love.
Yeah.
Just being in your presence.
They do, man. That's their quality time.
Quality time. Yeah.
Because they asked about y'all 150 million times when y'all was on vacation. But you haven't been gone that long like that. That
was the first time that we went that long for sure.
Yeah.
We typically do quick, short weekend stays and back, but
But then, how do you create balance between church life and family time? You said you have game night. That you have still a very full schedule.
Yeah.
But they are demanded that they go to church, correct?
Yeah. So it's just being intentional, right? Like, I believe that if you can get up and go to work in the morning, you can get up and go to church, right? If you get up and go to school, you can get up and go to church, right? So it's just being intentional, right? Like, just being intentional. I think that is the biggest thing, intentionality behind what we do, right? We're trying to keep them on this schedule of, going to bed on time for church so you ain't groggy in the morning, right? Like those kind of things, right? But yeah, I would say that's the way that we do it. Just intentional. We're being intentional with everything that we are assigned to do, right? Yeah. Like, church isn't something that we get to do. It's something, or some church that we have to do. It's something that we get to do.
Yeah.
Right? We get to go to church. Yeah. There are people in other countries that don't get to go to church, right? So I want our kids to know that this is an opportunity for us to get to go to serve God. Like we are, we were in COVID, right? Man, that was tough for us not to be able to serve God, in fellowship amongst other believers. So, this is a gift, to be able to get up and go and spend time and see family members and and just spend time in the presence of the Lord. So just being intentional on it.
I'll also add to a lot of times you hear PKs coming up and say, well, my dad was always at church, they didn't have time to come to my game. We are intentional about putting them in extracurriculars. So Rowan plays basketball, he's been playing flag football. Elle, we're gonna get her in dance or something. She's been asking to do something like that. But we're able to make it, thank God, like the schedule, like one league was Sundays only. Okay, we can't do that. We find a league that does Saturdays or after school, and we've been able to manage after work to go directly to the games and practices. So that's been great. They love that. Rowan loves that too. So
and that's so good you said that. Like I recently just heard a pastor say he's super intentional about spending time with his kids. And he said, one thing I said to myself is my kids ain't going to need no therapist because of my absence, right? And because of ministry. And I said the same thing. I'm like, that I'm taking more speaking engagements and doing more stuff in church. I said, I refuse to allow my kids to have to go to somebody's therapy because I wasn't present, because the church took precedent over it. My first ministry is my house, right? And so, if I can't preach on Sunday because my son got something, we ain't gonna preach on this Sunday. We're gonna find somebody else to do it, or whatever, right? I want to make sure that my family does not feel any less or neglected because of the call of ministry, right? So,
what's your you all's discipline makeup? How do you discipline your children? Because I'm a whooper. I'm not sure that that's something that you all do. What's your
Somebody just asked.
No, I'm not saying that you need.
She said, based on
they were asking why
they like on the way, I can tell you
we need some.
No, that's good. Like, okay, so all right, this is hilarious. My kids. So we whoop them kids for sure. Shelby don't whoop a lot. I do the whooping. He does 90% of the time. I think I heard Shelby pop one of them maybe twice.
Maybe twice, yeah.
But me, they getting it, you know.
Yeah.
But we have good kids though.
Yeah.
They just busy, and
Mhm.
sometimes they don't like to listen.
Right.
And so, you know, my dad was a big whooper. You know, like I think I preached and said this. He whooped me for stuff I hadn't even did yet. Just he wanted to make sure the whoopings were throwing up. So, I mean, I was just getting whooped, you know. But so yeah, there's no. All of them get whooped, you know. Sometimes they like to get mouthy, and I'm very. And I'll say this too: being on the same page, right? Like we don't play that. You can go to one parent and one parent gonna say something completely different than what the other parent say. It's if mommy say it, then that's what it is. If daddy say it, then that's what it is. So I think that is something that we have learned is key, right?
Yes.
When it comes to all of them, right?
Yeah.
Just being on the same page with whatever the action item is or the disciplinary action is, right? If it ain't no game today, you ain't on no game today.
Right.
I don't care if daddy left for 2 hours to go to the store, you ain't getting on no game, right? Like, so yeah, I think that is, you know, that's been.
No, I'm I don't gentle parent, but I like to come intellectual. Like I want them to understand why. You know what I mean? Like I get in their faces eye to eye and tell them this is why you need to listen. I'm bringing a word in there too. Like
That'll be working.
what if you?
That'll be working.
We call it, but or I'll say, do you see daddy such and such and such? Like something happens at school. My friend, but do you see me and daddy do that? And that sticks with them, you know? And so Rowan, a lot of times he'll come and tell me, I did this because, you know, in a good way, like, oh, the class was doing this and I did it, being a leader, right? So they really push moral focus, you know, virtues too, which are like kind of low key fruits of the spirit, which I love. But they'll remember, you know, of course they look at us, but they'll remember some of those talks. That's
well, a lot of times they'll say, L is good for mommy said such and such. And then she'll say, daddy said such and such. And so they'll sometimes try to come manipulate me to change you all's
they will.
decision. And I'll say, well, you know, no, mommy and daddy said this and this.
Yeah.
So you have to obey. So you have to be careful with that.
Sometimes you do it.
I do it all the time.
Okay, when it comes to ice cream,
ice cream I give them. I give them ice cream.
But no, they
like disciplinary stuff when they acting crazy.
Yeah,
I don't
crazy.
That's good. You all are the best parents, actually.
Thank you.
Thank God.
So, what do you hope people remember most about your ministry and your example as a couple? Start with your example as a couple first.
That we're not perfect. That we love God.
That's
good.
I think that people sometimes put people on platforms and pedestals, and we idolize people for the wrong reasons. And so I think that
like
is
what reasons?
You know, because you got stuff, right? Because you got a nice house and you got a nice car and you dress nice. Like, man, that stuff is far few and in between, right? Like it comes and it goes. But the truth of the matter, we're human, right? We're gonna make mistakes. We ain't perfect. But we love God, man, and we are trying to get this Christian walk down every day, right? We are yet striving, right? We are daily denying ourselves, trying to be better, not just for us, but for our legacy, right? Like we are, you know, I'm learning so much in this season of my life about how important legacy is, right? Like I'm not just the foundation that we're laying is not just for us, but it's for our children's children to follow after, right? And so, I think that's what I would want people to take away is that we're not perfect, but we love God for real.
Yes.
Amen.
You know,
That
so
part. Spot on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then also, like the greatest thing you ever said to me is, you know, mommy just used to see you praying.
Yeah.
You know, that did it. Because I ain't got money. So that's just like, no, that is a big deal.
It's
that
true.
Literally.
I mean, look at you and you all now.
Yeah. And you model like you did. And then also, Mom, you saying, what are you as a couple, but how we love people. I love people. Love people. And I just want to see them flourish, you know, in the will of God, you know. And so you as a servant, and so that was impressed upon me, and I want that to be impressed upon my kids. I want them to see that their mom and dad serve well,
people,
serve well and love people well, always speaking kind, kindness. So that's what I want people to remember too.
You said something I think both of y'all said something just about, modeling that for our children. Like even my stepmom, right? Like I heard her praying in the house. Like I heard her speaking in tongues and slapping oil all over the doorpost and on us. And, it was funny then, right? But we do the same thing now,
sure do.
right? Like our kids don't know when they sleeping, we praying, right? We laying hands on them when they upstairs sleeping good and, cozied up with the heat going. We downstairs worn in the spirit. So like I think that is what I want people to really get from us too. Is that we really love God for real and we really love people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that we ain't about us. Like don't care about none of no titles, no position. So
That's beautiful. So looking ahead, what are you most excited about in this next season, personally, professionally, and spiritually?
Man, personally, I'm excited for, I don't know. I have a few things before the Lord right now in terms of just like my career, desiring to go back to school for psychology. That is something that me and Shelby have been talking about heavily these past few days, these past couple of weeks.
Why psychology?
Because I like how the brain works. And I like getting down to the root issue of why people tick the way that they do. And specifically our young Black men, right? Like I don't feel like there's enough people that advocate for them and try to get to understand them. I think that is something that I would love to, like our, young fathers and husbands, right? We have a lot of things on our shoulders and we don't always have a lot of avenues to talk through certain things. So I think that's more so why psychology is just trying to better understand how I can be a better support to our specifically Black male population. So
beautiful. That's awesome.
Personally, professionally, I'm so excited. Oh, go ahead, sir.
I'm just
talking. I thought you had done.
No, you're good. No, so just to close it off, so personally, going back to school, ministry, I'm looking forward to what the new year brings. We have a lot of great ideas. Well, we have a lot of things that I just had opportunity to strategize with our pastor about that we'll be kind of launching going into the new year for this ministry. I think that's it.
Quick plug, come out to our North service November 21st for our Friendsgiving service.
We will list everything on the screen. You see it there.
And our Christmas service December 19th.
Oh, and I want to double back for real quick. Yes. You have a graphic design company?
Yes.
Okay. Are you taking new clients?
Make 35 Design. You can look me up on Instagram. Yes, I have a graphic design business. I've been doing that since 2017 after I was laid off. Remember I told you about that. But you have to work with what you have in your hands. And so we created that other stream of income.
And real estate.
Real estate too. We do do that as well. But yes, Make 35 Design. So with that said, what I'm looking forward to is I'm also by profession, a urban planner, and I love my job.
City of
Detroit, best city in the world, my heart. I'm looking forward to seeing where God has for me to go after my current project that I'm working on. I'm excited to see where He takes me in the city. I do not want to leave the city. I love it so much. I love interacting with the people of Detroit. So I'm excited to see where that goes. Spiritually and ministry wise, excited for what God is doing at the North. I'm getting involved in the women's ministry. So I'm excited for that and branching on to that. And of course, Make 35. Yes, I'm taking new clients. I do everything from t-shirt designs to obituaries, flyers, logos, all those things.
Church.
Church. Yes.
Branding.
Yes.
She's fire,
yes.
So, I ain't just saying that because she's my wife.
We're not just saying that. She dope.
Yeah, she got a couple well-known clients that she's been working with.
Yes.
And man. So she don't be plugging herself like that, but she
don't.
But what is as the kids have gotten older, I've had more time to be able to focus on my business. So I'm in a great season right now to be able to do that. So hit me up if you need some work done.
You see the information there on your screen, guys. So look, this has been an amazing conversation. We are godly proud of y'all beyond words that can't even express. And I just love how real and faith-filled Robert and Shelby are. Their honesty about marriage, family, and following God through transition is refreshing. Who cries on their podcast? I'm so proud of my kids, though, y'all. So I hope today's episode reminded you that no matter what season you're in, God's plan is still unfolding. And you can walk it out with grace, unity, and courage. Thank you for listening to this episode of Giving Us Something to Talk About. We gave you something to talk about. And hit Shelby up and Robert up. Oh, and you guys are available for speaking engagements as well?
Yes. We are available for speaking engagements.
Okay, well, until next time, keep walking in love, keep growing in faith, and keep trusting God's plan. We'll see you soon. God bless.